Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and this is your weekly horoscope forecast for the week of October the 15th through the 21st, 2018, for all the zodiac signs for the horoscope. So before I get started, if you haven't subscribed to my channel and you're tuning into this for the very first time, please go ahead and hit the red subscribe button on the bottom right hand corner of this video, as well as the notification bell icon, so that way you can be notified of any future videos that I do publish. Also, all my readings are on sale until Sunday, October 14th at midnight. That sale ends on Sunday at midnight, so which will be Monday morning. So you can take 30% off upon checkout by using the promo code STARSEED. That's the capital S, and then all the other letters in the word are lowercase. So it's case sensitive, so be sure to do that. You can gift a reading to someone if you'd like, or you could do it, use it for yourself. So you can do that as well. Also, if you haven't checked out my new show, it's called Tea with Spirit, and it airs every Monday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 4 p.m. Mountain Time, and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And basically, I'm taking questions from people all over around the world, viewers and listeners, and I'm answering them and giving you the tea from Spirit. So it's being compared to the psychic version of Dear Abby. If you haven't checked out episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4, go ahead and check it. Monday will be episode 5, and I'm very excited to get that out. If you'd like to submit a question to me, you can email me at raymondguzman@hotmail.com. In the subject line of your email, put Tea with Spirit, and in the body of your email, put your specific question as well as an alias, that because if your question is selected during my show, I will be reading it on air, and either you can put an alias I can use. I don't want to use your real name for confidentiality purposes, or you can choose to put anonymous if you'd like. So that being said and done, let's get into your horoscopes for this week. So I'm going to start off with the sign of Aries. Aries, this week for you, Aries, it's going to be a week in which you're going to have to shift things around. Things are going a little quickly in your life. You're going to need to really tap into your power, be very strong. You could be feeling like friendships are being tested right now. Your moods, things that you're saying right now could come across as maybe rude or a lower vibration, and it all has to do with the energy and the alignment, the planetary alignment right now. And also, I feel like you're being overworked, you're overworking, and you're keeping yourself busy, but in many ways you're not de-stressing, and you're not grounding yourself. And when this happens, it creates like an imbalance in your energy field, and so you may not be able to see it. There may be a friend or someone that's notices something is off, and just in a kind way lets you know that this is going on. It all has to do with ego. So this week is about learning to drop the ego, drop all of the negative vibes, and really pay attention to what is being said, because sometimes we don't think before we speak, and it can hurt. What you say. A lot of you Aries that would be listening out there are very strong-willed, and your words can sting in many ways. They can tear a person apart into pieces without even realizing it. And it's not that you're being insensitive, it's just who you are. You're very fiery. You're like the fire. You're just you're very strong. So Spirit is asking you to just really kind of let go of anything that is bothering you. This is a week of release, a week of you really kind of accepting things for how they are, and just moving on from it. You don't have time to spend on drama or anything of that right now in your life. This is also a time for you to really ask yourself, what is it that you really want? Almost like, what is it that's going to make you happy? And Spirit is asking you to really take a step forward into that direction and do what makes you happy, because a lot of you may be doing careers right now or doing something in your career that is not bringing you the ultimate happiness that you desire. So Spirit is asking you to do that. And that is what is the horoscope for the sign of Aries for this week. Taurus, this week for you, Taurus, it's a lot about focus, mental clarity, and how you are projecting things and disseminating, information and sharing different aspects of yourself, verbalizing communication. It's all about that this week, because this week you may be feeling at times your mind is kind of going in different directions. You have too many things to do, and so you could easily lose focus, and Spirit is wanting you to gain that focus back. You could easily easily lose clarity, and you need to gain that clarity back. And it's all about you, aligning yourself with the right people this week, and really turning more to your spirituality so that you can feel fulfilled in your life. A lot of you may be feeling like you haven't reconnected to nature, you haven't grounded yourself. Perhaps you're not doing meditation like you used to because you're, making some excuses here and there that perhaps you don't have enough time in the day, you're too busy. But all of that boils down to excuses, and we always have time to do certain things. It's a matter if we want to make that a priority or not. And for a lot of you out there, this week is going to be very beneficial for you to make that time, set that time aside and do some kind of meditation, whether it's you meditating in quiet, you doing some yoga, some going to a spa, going, into the gym, walking your dog in the park. Whenever you have some downtime, that's going to be a way that you can kind of meditate and clear that. There's also a lot of revolving around your love life. Feeling wanted, feeling loved. A lot of you may be struggling with that you may not be feeling that right now from your partner. And this week is something where you may find like a shift in them, and they kind of, that passion reignites in your love life. And so you could be finding your relationship, there's more affection being displayed, more flirtatious energy. There's a lot, again, around that's revolving around your love life and sexual energy this week. So a lot of you may be feeling, repressed energy, and releasing that, finding an emotional release with your partner. If you're single, a lot of you could be, using this time to maybe date and, find someone else. So also this week, it's going to be a week in which you are asking yourself, you're not, a lot of you may not be feeling fully fulfilled in your careers. There could be something that is lacking. Maybe this has been ongoing or festering for quite some time. And Spirit is telling you that, you've already reached what you needed to reach in the field that you're in, or the career that you're in. Maybe it's time to kind of, branch out and explore, be spontaneous. And so a lot of you may be having some new ideas, creative ventures that you're wanting to embark on in the next couple of weeks. It's all going to boil down to what you want. Spirit is also saying that you could be feeling like there's someone that is rigid with you, that someone that's being very not themselves, or not being kind. They're showing a more of a cold side to themselves, and that's something that doesn't set well with you. Intuitively, you know that something will be wrong with this person, but rather than taking it personally, Spirit wants you to approach it from the aspect that, what if it was you and you were in that kind of position? Kind of put yourself in their shoes and just give them space and time. Give them time and space. That's what they need right now. You really don't want to kind of probe them and pressure them and be that person that's like, well, what's wrong with you? I noticed that you're quiet. That's probably not the best approach this week, even though, yes, that's being very direct. And some people could say that's very caring. Again, that probably won't be the best approach with someone that's being difficult or cold or distant to you. Just give them the time and space that they need. They will come back to you if it's destined, and, they when they work out their problems. That's the horoscope for this week for Taurus. All right, the next sign is Gemini. Gemini, this week for your horoscope, it's going to be about fighting something. You're fighting something. Some people are fighting you, Gemini. I don't know. There's a lot of negativity that is around us Geminis this week. I know I'm a Gemini myself, so I personally have been being targeted and bullied by people online for no particular reason other than, they get bored in their internet trolls. So this week, be prepared. There's a lot of battle going on between us light workers and a lot of darkness out there. People are crazy. There's a lot of crazy energy out there, and this week is not any different. So this week, it's like you are being a warrior, having to defend yourself. Stand your ground. Don't let people walk all over you. That's okay. Stand your ground, because this is going to be short-lived, but People will, you know, if they think you're a pushover, or they think that you perhaps you just because you're a spiritual person that you know you don't have feelings or emotions, well, they're sadly mistaken, and they'll find out. You know, defend yourself and protect yourself. There's a lot of psychic attacks that a lot of us Geminis would be getting. Have your sage, your black tourmaline, your selenite crystals, bust out with all the crystals of protection, the sea salt, whatever is needed, whatever is your you know, the mantras, prayers, meditation, candles, whatever. Whatever you're into, whatever is your, you know, brings you back to that space of zen and peace, be prepared, because this week, like I said, is going to be a pretty intense week. There's also a lot of focus right now around friendships and who's being the most loyal to you. Loyalty is a big thing for us Geminis because we're the most loyal out of all the signs. People, you know, they call us two-faced and that we have two different personalities, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes down to it, we are the most loyal sign. I don't care what anyone says out there. We're loyal, and we're all about loyalty, and we want that loyalty back. Sadly, there are some friendships that you could be having right now that are being tested, and Spirit is allowing you to see this from a different set of lenses, that there are some people that are in your life that, you know, have referred to themselves as friends that may not be as loyal. They could be talking badly about you behind your back. And it's not your imagination. This is what Spirit is delivering this week. So basically, they want you to pray to the higher power, to align yourself with the higher power, take the high road. If you are feeling like someone is backstabbing you or someone is being negative, when all you've shown them is love and compassion, just, you know, kind of give some space. You need space, and recollect yourself. It's kind of hard for us when we're Geminis because we are so we care about everybody, but we still, our mind is going 100 miles per hour, and we're thinking about work, but at the same time we're ruled by our emotions and our heart. And so a lot of you could hurt very deeply if you're going through a breakup or there's just a disagreement, an argument. We don't like confrontation either, contrary to what a lot of people think. Geminis really don't like controversy, or, you know, we don't like scandal or drama. We walk away from it. So Spirit is telling you to basically try to understand the bigger picture here. There is a higher power that is at work right now. You're needing to understand more about yourself. And I feel like many of these experiences and lessons that we would be going through this week are going to be helping us on our spiritual path and really help us understand what we need to look for, patterns that we need to look for, and draw away, break those spiritual cords and those attachments that are negative in our life and that are not helping us in any kind of way. And a lot of us will gain confidence through this. We'll be more confident in your spiritual path, in your workspace, in your family life. And it's all about communication for us, what it boils down to. So you need to make sure that you are communicating how you're feeling, because a lot of times we tend to do the opposite and think that people can read our minds. Just like we can, some of us may be able to do, we can read other people's minds. But in many cases, a lot of people don't. The majority of people are not in tune with what you're thinking. So it's very important that no matter if you're an intuitive or you're surrounded by intuitives, to speak from your heart and speak from the purity of your soul, and really let people know what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. It's a beautiful thing. A lot of you may be going through periods of crying this week, purging something in yourself. Your old self could be dying, an old piece of your soul, and you're purging. So if you're emotional, you're crying, you're having a breakdown, kind of, relax, know it's going to be okay, and speak to your friends, speak to someone, and share, what you're thinking. A lot of us tend to bottle that up inside, and it's the last thing that you need to do this week at all. You need to just be yourself, be vulnerable. If that's what you need to be, just be it. So hang in there. It's a rough week this week, Gemini, but we'll get through it just like any other week. All right, this week for the sign of Cancer. Cancer, this week for you, it is going to be about your emotions, what you are feeling right now. A lot of you could be feeling like you're invisible, like you're not being, you're being taken for granted. A lot of what you're saying to a partner or to someone is going through one ear, coming out through the other. They're not really listening to what you're saying, but in the background, you know, you're sitting there and you're watching and you're observing all of their movements, how they comport themselves, and the things that they're not really saying to you, you already are aware of it. You're very intuitive, so they really can't hide much from you, Cancer Moonchild. So what it all boils down to is you really now realizing your self-worth. A lot of you out there that are the Moonchild sign of Cancer, you would be understanding what is your self-worth, what, you know, what is it that you need to do to make sure that your self-worth is taken to an account and that you're respected, because a lot of people don't respect you right now. A lot of people try to walk all over you or undermine you when you're an adult. You know, this could be even your family doing this to you, and you're allowing it. A lot of you out there could be allowing this to go on, and so that's why it never stops. So you need to really set your foot down and really let them know that you're going to allow these things to continue anymore, that there is an ending and a finality to it. So a lot of you could be having a lot of problems in your home life, with family, a lot of discussions, a lot of uproar, misunderstandings. There could be heated arguments, things that, you know, typically wouldn't happen in any other time, but the way that the energy is aligned and the veils are so thin this month between the living and the spirit world, that, you know, there's a lot of intense energies that are being exchanged and coming through and seeping through from the other side. And being that, you know, that you're in a nocturnal, you know, the Cancer sign is associated with the moon in many ways. So you are going to be finding that there is hope, you know, before the week is over. Don't lose your hope. There's a positive light. This is not going to be all negative this week like it may sound. You're going to have good moments this week as well, but for the most part, a lot of you could be feeling like, you know, this is just dragging. The week is dragging, and there's just so much things that you need to accomplish, and there's a lot of people that are nagging you. So just kind of, you know, try to balance all that out. That's going to be the key, and don't, you know, lose it. Don't lose your temper temporarily, and you know, burn bridges this week, especially in your work life. You don't want to burn bridges at all. So this is the horoscope for the sign of Cancer for this week. Leo, this week for you, Leo, this is going to be a week about you have been tempted. A lot of you out there are being tempted to something that may be a little negative. You could be letting your emotions get the best of you, and where you've done a lot of self-work on yourself and self-love, there could be something that just sets you off this week, a trigger that makes you, you know, take 3 or 4 steps back to where you initially were. So you need to stay away from that and don't cross the lines of the forbidden. There's something that, you know, that you are being pushed to, old emotions, your old self. There's a toxic setup this week that could get the best of you. Spirit is wanting to remind you of how far you've come along this week. You know, that's all about how much you've grown over the past couple of years, and that you're continuing to grow and accelerate, you know, your ascension, your spiritual ascension, and your spiritual mission here on earth, your life path. So they want you to, you know, turn to things that bring out your more playful inner child energy. You can do this by listening to music. If you have children that are small, play with your children, getting, you know, into their activities and kind of being a child for a moment, watching cartoons with them. These are going to be things that kind of really bring you a lot of that inner child back out and help you balance yourself. A lot of you could also be feeling like there's something burning deep inside of you, this desire, you know, be loved and to cuddle, to hug someone, to be intimate. You know, that's something that could be lacking in your life this week. You know, maybe you know, there's problems in your marriage or problems in your relationship, that this is something that's not as prevalent anymore, and you could be seeking it from some other source, whether it's out, you know, another person. So just be careful. Spirit is saying to be careful. You don't, you know, if you're having an affair outside of a relationship, to be careful, because you don't want to play with fire and get burned. You don't want to have hurt 2 people, 2 hearts. There's a lot of secrets that you're holding on to this week, a lot of you. So honesty is the key point for this this week for you, Leo. All right, for the sign of Virgo, this week, Virgo, it's all about choices. You have so many choices to make. You have choices about, you know, your career, about what you're going to prepare for the week for food, grocery lists, you know, shopping, bills. There's a lot of, you know, how you're going to spend your check, where it's going to. There's a lot of twists and turns this week for you in that area, and a lot of choices that you have to make. So you are going to be toggling between your shadow self and your light self. There's a lot of going back and forth, toggling between the good and the bad and the not so good. So Spirit is wanting you to just know that things are going to seem a little complicated right now, especially if you're in a relationship or you're dating someone, but you're not officially like engaged or married. The relationship could have its ups and downs. Spirit is wanting you to know that this is temporary, but they want you to look in the mirror, look deep inside yourself, and ask yourself, what is it that you're doing perhaps that can change, and what is it that that person is doing that's causing you unhappiness, and what could they change, and kind of work together as a couple, work together on your issues. If it's just you, this doesn't even have to be in a relationship. It could be within your family. Perhaps you're always criticized and you're never given a compliment or praise. And there's just a lot of criticism on how you live your life. This is going to be something about how you have to approach that situation and really, let them know how you feel, that it's not right. You don't feel like you're appreciated and you're constantly judged. Like I said before, with one of the other signs, if you don't speak up, people are not going to know and necessarily know what you're feeling. You have to be very vocal about it. There is a big change coming very soon. So this week could be like the onset of some big change for you. That could feel very chaotic because you maybe didn't expect it. This could be receiving news from, a case that you've been waiting on, or medical results, or you just waiting, to hear back from an apartment or a place that you're trying to move to, and things may not necessarily come out the way that you're wanting this week, and you could be feeling like it's negative. But through all the chaos that's happening right now in your life, it's going to be bringing you a shift. And like I said, it's not permanent, it's temporary. So just stay positive. Things will get better as the week progresses. Libra, this week for you, Libra, this is going to be a week in which you are turning more to purification. There are things in your life that no longer serve you that you need to kind of cut out of your life, things that you need to really kind of purify. And this could be you being in a relationship that is not good for you, but for some reason you're doing it for a rebound, or you're doing it just to make somebody else unhappy. Whatever you're doing, there's something that has almost like a darkness to it in your life, and you're fully aware of it. Spirit is saying that you're fully aware of what you're doing, but you don't care. And so this is when bad karma can be created, and we can start developing and experiencing the bad things in our life. Spirit wants you to be very aware and mindful of your actions and what you are projecting and what you're doing consciously. Because when we do things consciously, it means that we know between what is right and wrong, and whether you are getting some temporary satisfaction out of seeing someone suffer, or you're getting some type of satisfaction in knowing that you are going to see someone fall. These are low vibrations, and it attracts bad things into our life. So they want you to release that. You're a child of the light, so you need to let go of any of those emotions. Let karma and the universe take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. We're not gods, and we're not to play God and take it into our hands, even though you may have all the tools that you need to bring someone down. Spirit is basically saying you need to let that go. There's a lot of darkness that is surrounding you, and they're just on being there, the cheerleaders of darkness, and really trying to cheer you on. And so there could be people that are, in a dark vibration that are like egging you on, whether a friend, it could be a friend saying, hey girl, just go ahead and do that to him, go ahead and report him to this, get him for all his money, or blah, blah, blah. I'm just using that as an example. And those are the kind of things that you need to listen, who's whispering in your ear? What is whispering in your ear? What are you aware of that you are not acknowledging, or you just don't care? And move away from it. That's, there's going to be a great message from Spirit once you're able to move and elevate yourself from that darkness into the light. You're going to find a lot of strength and find out that you are much stronger than what this temptation was. But get away from those temptations that are darkness and that hurt other people. This is not a week for you, Libra, to play with fire, because you will get burned. And again, this is just, it may not apply to all of you out there, but whoever's listening to this and may be going through something like this, that it's a little bit more darker. Someone's hurt you really bad, and now you want some kind of revenge, and you're thirsty for it. Don't do it. Don't do it, because it's not worth your karma. It's not worth your time and your energy, and that you've put into yourself, and it's not worth you turning to the dark side, because you are a child of the light, like I said. So this is the horoscope for the sign of Libra. All right, Scorpio. This week for you, Scorpio, it's all about your work ethic. A lot of you are committing to a lot of projects and things that you shouldn't be doing, because you have already a big work schedule. So Spirit is saying, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Taking on more work. I think a lot of you are, deal with a lot of your emotions and things that are going on in your personal life by kind of gravitating more towards your work and immersing yourself in that. But Spirit is saying to be mindful of that, and don't forget that you are a human being, and that you must treat your body like a human being. You're not a machine. You are not supposed to overwork yourself. You are needing some time to kind of unwind and really enjoy life and enjoy things that are dear to your heart. Spending quality time with your family, listening to music, dancing. A lot of you like to dance to kind of release a lot of that energy. So Spirit is basically saying to don't take on more than you can chew, and also to you're going to be having a lot more clarity with your visions, with your third eye, for those of you that have psychic abilities and have the spiritual abilities, and you can foresee certain things, certain outcomes. You may be noticing that you have dreams that are more lucid, that you are remembering. You could also be finding that you just know an outcome, or a friend asks what do you think about this, and intuitively your clairsentience or your claircognizance takes over, and then you just know, you don't know how you know, but and you'd let them know and deliver that message. There's also about there's a lot of that is circling around you, and a lot of the goals that you've set for yourself, and a lot of the strictness or strict patterns that you set in yourself, like routines. A lot of you could be you're like your worst critic, judging yourself harshly, adhering to a crazy work schedule, or crazy expectations that you've set on yourself. And Spirit is wanting you to know that you're not a slave to yourself. You don't have to be obedient to yourself, but really just listen to Spirit and kind of understand that like I said, this boils down to understanding that you are a human, and that you don't have to do these unrealistic things, like if you're dieting, or you just don't want to eat anything that's fattening, or you're just judging yourself. Your hair is not a certain way, it has to be a certain way so that you can feel pretty. Spirit is wanting you to release all of that and just go with the flow and just be you. That's all that you need to do. Sagittarius, this week for you, Sagittarius, it's all about meditating. A lot of you out there are feeling the effects of the Venus retrograde. A lot of you are feeling the effects of the month of October, since the veil is a lot thinner between the worlds of the living and of the spiritual realm. So a lot of you could be feeling like unbalanced. You could be feeling lonely. A lot of you could be feeling a little depressed this week. Memories, of being with someone, and now they're no longer in your life, your love life, and this are evoking a lot of emotions out of there. But you don't see the beauty that you have inside of you. And I feel like many of you out there, that's the message that Spirit is saying, that you are beautiful. You're a beautiful spiritual being, but you need to realize that you are. A lot of you can't see it, and so you don't feel loved, you don't feel valued or appreciated, and you kind of have to realize that once you start feeling appreciated, that you appreciate yourself and love yourself, then other people are naturally going to gravitate towards you and show you and give you that kind of affection or appreciation that you so deserve. But it all starts within ourselves, and that's the journey. So Spirit is wanting to remind you about that. A lot of you also could be moving towards moving to a new place, a new location, or wanting to move into a new career. There's something that is traveling and moving in different directions, and this is something that is happening over the next couple of weeks. So there is change coming for you, Sagittarius, in all levels of your life, and it's exciting in some ways. In some ways, you could be feeling like it's not as exciting. That there are things that are going to be unexpected, or you could be fearful of the unexpected or the unknown. But Spirit is saying that you are protected, and there's nothing to worry about. So don't worry about it. Let it go. Capricorn, this week for you, Capricorn, there's a lot that's revolving around people in your life who are being deceitful, that are lying to you. If you are that person that is giving white lies or saying a lie and keeping secrets, it needs to stop, because it's not going to lead to any good energy. There's no good outcome out of that. Spirit is telling you that you are a child of the light. You're not deceitful. You're not someone who is darkness. And so you need to step into the light and be your authentic self. If there's something that is bothering you, speak it up. Don't keep the secret. If somebody is telling, asking your opinion, don't lie to them. Be very honest. But there's this big temptation that surrounds you that you need to be careful with in the beginning of the week. A lot of you also could be in denial of something in your life that needs changing. You could have, programmed yourself, socially conditioned yourself to thinking that, your life is okay, but it's not okay on a deeper level. On the subconscious level, that you're not okay, that you are not feeling good in your spirit, that there's things that need to be changed. You're not happy, but yes, you're sticking to it because maybe there's a certain level of financial convenience, whether this is in a relationship or because you fear like, that you wouldn't be able to make it on your own once you would embark on a new path or a new journey. So Spirit is basically saying that you're going through cycles right now, and these cycles will have an ending to it, but you just need to be very authentic to yourself and not give up on what is it that you're feeling right now, and just honor what you are really, intuitively feeling and thinking right now. That's going to be very, very important for you this week. Aquarius, this week it's all about your work life. There's a lot of success that you're having right now in whatever project that you're doing or whatever you're working on or whatever you're planning to work on. There's a lot of things that you have achieved and that are still achieving. There is a conclusion. There is something that is coming to an end right now in your life, whether this be a friendship, whether this be a business contract, or something else in your life. But there's something that you're basically changing in your life and realizing that there's an ending to this, and it's inevitable, but ultimately this is something that's going to bring you more peace over the next year. It's going to bring you more clarity, and basically it's going to bring you to a more spiritual spot. And what Spirit is saying right now is that you are getting to that, turning more to your spirituality, and by doing so, by turning more into your spirituality and your spiritual side, that there's a lot of healing from this, and there's a lot that you are going to basically gravitate and get more blessings gravitating towards you, and a lot more happiness. They want you to listen to the higher power, to listen to yourself, and just know that darkness does not always equate to evil, and light does not always bring good. So there is a balance here. There's something that you're learning. This is a lesson this week for you. There's a lesson that's needing to be learned, that's needing to be brought to the light. And this is what it's basically, they're wanting you to be your individual self and to love your individuality and who you are as a person. And through this, you're going to find a lot of healing and a lot of good energy. And this was the horoscope for the sign of Aquarius for this week. All right, Pisces. So this week for your horoscope, there is a lot of focus right now around yourself. A lot of you could be finding that you're very different than somebody else. Although you're not comparing, you don't like to compare yourself to somebody else, you typically may be finding this week that it's a little difficult to not compare yourself. It's almost like you are trying to be someone that you're not. And you're trying to maybe impress someone, and Spirit is saying, why are you trying so hard? You don't have to be anything but yourself. They want you to really kind of reconnect to Mother Earth, ground yourself, ground your energy, and know that everything is going to be okay. There is some changes that are going on in your personal life and your feelings towards other people. This could be almost like you taking a risk, coming out and saying something, or that's bothering you, but you don't know how to say it, and maybe it's about another person, and they just want you to be open and have that communication, and through that it's going to be easier for you to release that. You could be feeling very much trapped right now in your life, feeling like you're a bird in a cage in many ways, and you don't know why. You have maybe the best career, you have the best boyfriend or girlfriend, or you seem to have everything together, but you still feel trapped. You feel trapped in a situation. So Spirit is basically saying that in order to break loose out of that trap and break loose from that, you just need to think outside of the box right now and really not push yourself, but go with the flow. Let things fall as they may, and just take chances, and that's how you're going to grow in your spiritual path. So I want to thank all of the listeners this week for the listening to my horoscopes for the week. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And again, if you would like to set up a private reading, all of my readings are on sale until October 14th, which is a Sunday. Use the promo code STARSEED for 30% off. Blessings and love and light. Have an amazing week.